Okay, that trunk is a little thick. A little bit thick for my liking. Where are we with our colors? Okay. Immediately I have a bit of stuff in there. Okay. Yeah, now we get to see some of our colors poking through here. It's very close to the center of the painting. Well, it's pretty much in the center of the painting, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm using high value right in the center, but not highest chroma. I think that's a decent enough way of managing it. At the moment I'm using CAD Yellow Pale, Cadmium Orange Medium, Yellow Ochre. Hint of burnt sienna. Painting on the crossbar. Not my favorite place to paint. The vertical support on the back of the behind the canvas. Hint of yellow ochre and a bit of alizarin crimson. Almost straight CAD Yellow Pale now. A little higher chroma, but I'm washing it out with white, so it's not crazy intense. Boy, there's junk in the paint. How dare I get junk in the paint? Back to our yellow ochre, little yellow ochre, little burnt sienna. What do I want to do here? I think I'd like to come up, but I'd like this to be a little more defined. More junk in the paint. Why have I got so much junk in my paint suddenly? That's weird. Wine, wine, wine. I'm going to head off in this direction, but not yet. You can hear the gentle clunking of my easel, and I could put a wedge in there to remove that sound, you know, to tighten it up. It's just, I may at some point, but I'm so used to it. It's almost a little bit comforting for me. I'm sure it's somewhat it would be somewhat irritating to some folks, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think I'll just doesn't bother me that much. I'm going over a wet wash-in still, so it's being a bit of a nuisance, but it's okay. I'll live with it. I don't mind thinning this tree off a little bit either. That would not hurt my feelings. As you can see, I'm not terribly worried about going over these branches too much. When I am when I'm done with the session right now, I'm probably just going to take my knife and scrape off where I have ridges, only where they meet the branches themselves. In general, I'm guilty of worrying too much about little details like that. As they say, don't sweat the small stuff. Certainly not if you want to end up with an impressionistic canvas. You sweat the small stuff, and before you know it, you've got this tight, tidy, boring little thing that you just, I don't know, doesn't do much for me anyway. Yeah, I think I would definitely prefer painting over a dryer wash-in. It's just kind of sliming around now as I apply it. The texture of the canvas isn't grabbing the paint as much as I prefer. However, we will carry on. What would this look like in front? A little cad orange medium with a little alizarin crimson in it. Ooh, that's pretty vibrant stuff. I like that. These colors are still going to be wet tomorrow, so I'm really not worrying about them. I don't mind putting little swatches of color in different places. Help me to index where I'd like to put things. that's the bottom of the foliage on that trunk. Ish. Everything is ish. But that also is going to catch some light, right? Should. Be careful not to have that too much of a blob. I already have some blobby stuff going on here. Don't like it. Okay. A little bit of burnt sienna. Oh. You know what I wanted to do? And I forgot. I wanted to reintroduce this sort of little deal that I had going on here. I can't exactly tell you why, but I like that. I like that sort of triangle. You know, it's like another little bit of the stump that was sitting there before. So I'll put that in. Again, keeping a dry brush loaded with some very dark paint in case I need to reassert some lines. Keep it a little bit fluffy looking there. And let's also, okay, this will be yellow ochre and a bit of ultramarine blue and a bit of yellow ochre. No, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue. White. Alizarin crimson, ultramarine blue. A bit of a pale purple here. We're getting away from our focal area, so I like to take it down a notch, you know? Yeah, I know you know, because I repeat myself incessantly. Okay. That looks okay, a little more of the same. And then I'm going to have to stop and reload my palette. My palette is loaded for brush use, so I didn't put near enough paint on it. A few strokes of the knife and it's empty. Better get a little more aggressive here. Okay, that's what I'll do. Well, I've changed knives. This one is too inflexible. It's pretty hard. It's a little small too. But so I've gone to this one. This one is electroplated, and I don't like that because after a bit of use, it begins to peel off. But as long as I keep the ridges clean, it's okay. It's more flexible. It's a little bigger too, suiting the job better. So, you know, this is no longer a tree that's going to sort of occupy the space as a tree. It's still nice to have a little bit of something there, so I left it. And I've got a little more abstract in the background. I think I'm just going, the colors I'm using, they're fairly slow drying, so I can get into this tomorrow without worrying about dried ridges on my paint to any great degree anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is just, you know, I've established my values and colors here around the focal area. Focal area, for the most part, you know, the focal point is probably here. This will all be quite an interesting area, though. We're going to pull a little bit to the right as we go. But just to further sort of establish what I'm after, I think what I'll do is, actually I need to raise this a notch. How's that? You still on? Oh yeah, it's still on the frame anyway. Or still in frame. So I think what I'll do is just put a few strokes in here, just to sort of, you know, establish where I'm going with it. And this is a little more sweeping, a little more of a sweeping motion than I usually use with a knife, but I'm sure we'll be okay. Go down in value a little bit here. I've gotten a little exuberant there, but I'm not too worried about it. But I would like to show that we're coming here. See, that light is going to spill all the way to this edge, more or less. Not as intensely, but certainly to some degree. Let's put a little bit of, that's okay, we're going to yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and a bit of white here. Maybe that's not quite enough white. A bit pink, but I'm not too worried about it. Oh, I was going to put a rock or two here. Oh well. That's okay. Boy, with all the tidy, two-fisted brush stuff I've been doing lately, I'm really enjoying this break. Okay, so we're pushing this back. I like that, you know. It begins to help us see where we're at. Stay where you're at, and I'll come where you're to, as they say. Well, as some people say, I guess I should say. How's that? Is that? That's pretty red. brush maybe. Don't want to get too carried away because we want to reserve, we don't want this to compete with that. It can complement it. That's the best I can say about it, really. Okay, now now I have to go back to that little knife because the smaller knife, I would like to introduce a bit of this color up here. And I've got to get in and around some shapes. Throw a little bit of this red up here as well. Not much. I kind of should be reserving this color for more towards the end. But I've got it on my palette. I want to use it up. I don't need it down here anymore. I don't believe. Yeah, I'm not fond of the way this knife works. I don't like the way it handles. Okay, so that gives you a bit of an idea, a bit of a feel. Is it a path? You can decide what it is for yourself. It certainly is a place that's cleared of underbrush that you can walk under here. Does it carry on? Yeah. It's a psychological thing. You can decide that for yourself. Alright, we'll just put you back on the leash for now. So this might be not a bad time to point something out, or maybe a couple of things. Working in this area, the individual objects that I want to stand proud of the distance are coming to life because I'm really being quite smudgy and vague and not too descriptive in my colors. I'm toning down the chroma and I'm taking down the value as far as masses of value are concerned as we move off to the right hand side and in all these areas. So I'm just sort of again, impressionism, giving the impression of color of trees in the autumn, turning the various golds and oranges and what have you in behind these. So as I continue, I'm still going to keep those colors muted in the background. Then I'm going to work on the foreground trees. They'll have a little more strength, although some to a greater, some to a lesser degree. I'm going to include a couple of poplar trunks here so they don't stand so dark. When they're black like this, they almost look like the trunks of a maple tree. I'm going to try to give that a bit of variety in the background. This will be a little looser painting than what I've been doing lately, thank goodness. So I kind of look forward to playing, with that in that direction. Another thing, I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to be finishing this painting tonight. So what I've done is, I'm still going to do a bit of work around here. I'm going to probably cut around these shapes. But I have not had to commit to this side because I have this very strong line. You know, I have this strong tree. So I can paint up to it or almost up to it. But relative to if I laid a few strokes in here, if the paint were to start to stiffen too much or to dry, I'm kind of making things hard on myself. So really I'm just committing to painting up against this tree. I can match the colors, the values, and the technique on this side later. But because I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get to this tonight, I'm going to stick to this side of the painting. And as I said earlier, I think by doing this, I'm kind of committing to getting a lot more done. This whole face here can stay dark, you know, but at least I've gotten this in, blends well. Yeah, pick your lines, try to, if you're not sure that you can complete something in a sitting, certainly on a large painting, pick the shortest lines that you can to stop with a knife painting. Because my goodness, had I, for example, not painted this, but and just laid in all kinds of colors, gone willy-nilly over here. I know there's a lot of work to be done in here, you know, and started to work on these bushes. If I'd been all over the place, I would be committed to having to finish those. If not tonight, then certainly tomorrow, because after that the paint forms a skin or stiffens up too much, and then what you end up with is sort of what appears to be irregularities or inconsistencies in technique. Some people can pull it off. I'm not comfortable with it. I mean, I suppose it can look okay. It does look, it looks beautiful. The way some people do it, I don't like it because knife painting is very textural. And when you start to go over those textures, which are made up of lines, it just loses strength. Blah, blah, blah. Well, despite pontificating about the ideal way of doing things yesterday, I ran out of steam. So I did not get this whole area painted in. What I did do is where there were ridges, where the new paint is meeting the paint that's on here already, I've taken scraped ridges off before I stopped last night. So that's not going to be much of a problem. And now it's a new day. I'm going to commit to finishing all the background, not necessarily, you know, individual trees, but all the background stuff. So I think we can just get into this here. This is pretty intense. I want to tone it down a little bit as we get away from the focal area. How's that? Yeah, I think that's okay. Let's go to almost straight yellow ochre there. And I'll put a dab on this side as well, because I am now committing to doing this area during the day, so the paint won't have a chance to dry up on me. Well, it's still early. Let's see. It's early in the day, and I will try to I won't have this on film on this video, like the completion of this that'll be for the next one. But what I found recently, I did about a 20-minute video and it took 4.5 hours to process and publish. Yesterday I did a video that was about 20 minutes and it took half an hour. So again, you know, I think we're still talking about our broadband issues in the area that I live. So that makes it kind of unpredictable. So seeing as I have a bit of footage ready for you, I'll start loading it right now and get it published. At least you can see what's going on for now.